Welcome everyone. In this video lecture, we will cover the remaining physical properties and their characteristics. In the part 1 and part 2, we have already covered different physical properties like size, shape, specific gravity, sphericity, bulk density, porosity, and their methods of determination in details. The remaining properties will be covered in this particular video lecture. So these are the content, that is the remaining property, that is surface area of grain, fruits and vegetables will be covered in this video lecture. So methods for the determination of leaf surface area. So basically there are two methods for the determination of leaf surface area. The first one is the graphical method and the second one is the airflow planimeter method. First, graphical method. So it is a very simple method for determination of surface area of a different leaves. So it is measured by tracing the leaf on a graph paper and counting the squares or measuring the area by planimeter. So planimeter is the instrument which directly give us the value of the surface area. It is a digital instrument. In graphical method, what we do, we take a graph paper. On that graph paper, we place the leaf of which surface area is to be determined, and then we draw the outer line or outer boundary of that leaves on the graph paper, and then after that we measure the number of squares enclosed by that outline, and by adding all that number of square we determine the surface area of that particular leaf in centimeter square. So it is simple and less time consuming method. So airflow planimeter method, it is reliable and fastest method. The apparatus consists of two identically perforated plates, each plate having 100 holes per square centimeter, and these plates are mounted on the top of an airtight drum connected to constant speed rotary pump. The function of this pump is to provide pressure. One plate, out of these two plates, one plate, that is the specimen grid on which we place the sample or leaf of which surface area is to be determined, is increased, while other plate, the measuring grid, is covered by an airtight slide. Under this condition, the pressure within the drum is noted, and this pressure is referred as drum pressure. So leaves are then mounted on a specimen plate and are held flat by suction pressure, which is provided by that uh, air pump. By opening the slide which covers the measuring grid, the pressure is brought back to the datum pressure, and a vernier scale mounted on the slide is read. The area of the lip is equal to the area of the exposed portion of the measuring plate, which is given by the vernier scale. So in this way, we determine the surface area of leaf by using airflow planimeter method, in which we use the application of airflow to determine the specific area or surface area of the leaf. So this diagram shows the planimeter with calibration curve. Determination of surface area of fruits. For the measurement of surface area of fruit such as apples, the fruit is peeled in narrow strips, that is, fruit is cut into number of slices, and then by using planimeter we measure the area of each of the strip or each of the slice. Then by addition we find out the total area of that fruit. Sum of these area of the tracing of the strip is taken as the surface area of the fruit. So there are certain formulas which which are also used to find out the surface area of the various fruits and vegetables. For example, for apples, we use the formula capital S is equal to 6.72 plus 0.129 into W, okay, where W is the weight of the object. For pears, we use the formula S is equal to 7.49 plus 0.99 into W. For plum, we use the formula S is equal to 2.18 plus 0.149 into W, and for eggs we use the expression S is equal to 4.82 into W raised to the power 0.66. So in all these cases, S is nothing but the surface area in square inch, and weight W is nothing but the weight of fruit in grams. For symmetrical objects like egg, a shadowgraph or a photographic enlarger can also be used. Now, specific surface in a porous material. So it is defines the surface of pores in a porous media exposed to fluid flow either per unit volume or per unit weight of the solid particle. This is the definition of specific surface in porous material. In studying the fluid flow and heat generation and transfer in stored products, knowledge of specific surface is required. Permeability. So permeability is the property of a porous material which permits the fluid flow through the material by an applied pressure gradient. The permeability can be determined by the Darcy's equation, that is Q is equal to 1 by eta into K into A in bracket delta P divided by L bracket complete. So where K is the permeability, Q is equal to flow rate in meter cube per second, eta is viscosity of fluid in kg second per meter square, delta P pressure difference across the length of pack kg per meter square, A is the cross sectional area of the flow meter per meter square, and L is the length of porous pack in the direction of flow. The unit is meter. So flow characteristics of grain. So flow characteristics of a grain plays important role in selection of various designs features of dryers, storage structures like silos, bins, and for the design of hopper of feed mills. So it depends on the angle of repose. Angle of repose is one of the frictional properties of the biological material, and this flow characteristics depends upon the angle of repose, coefficient of internal friction, grain surface area, moisture content of grain, and impurities present in the grain mass. So due to increase in moisture content, the flow capacity of the grain mass obviously decreases. The impurities in the grain mass also tend to decrease the flow capacity because these impurities create resistance to the flow of grain in a system. The experiments conducted on the different samples of grain mass reveal that discharge varies as per parabolic function of the diameter of orifice. So this is given by Q is equal to capital K into capital D raised to the power n, where capital Q is equal to flow rate of grains, capital D is equal to diameter of orifice, K and N are coefficient depending upon the type of material and physical properties of the materials. So methods of measurement of density. So there are various methods which are used to measure the density, that is suspension method, density method, and porosity method. So bulk density. So what do you mean by bulk density? The bulk density, it is denoted by rho b, considered as the ratio of the weight of the grain in kg to its total volume in meter cube. This is simply nothing but mass per unit volume. The bulk density of the food grain changes with the change in the moisture content. It is given by rho b is equal to Ws divided by Vs, where rho b is equal to bulk density, unit is kg per meter cube, Ws is equal to weight of the sample in kg, and Vs volume of the sample, that is 100 cc or 10 raised to minus 3 meter cube. So true density. The true density, it is denoted by rho t, defined as the ratio of mass of the sample to its true volume. So there is a basic difference between the bulk density and true density. Bulk density is the density of a grain mass, whereas true density is the density of a single particle or single kernel. So the true density rho t is determined by using liquid displacement method or oil displacement method. So multi-volume pycnometers oil displacement method provides a rapid means for precisely determining the true volume of porous materials and irregularly shaped food grains. The true density of the grains is found to be decreased with an increase in moisture content. As the increase in the true volume of the grains is higher compared to the increase in the moisture content of the grains. Since the true density varies with the moisture content of the food grains, the moisture content of the food grains also to be reported. It means at what moisture content how much true density decreases, or what is the value of true density at a particular value of moisture content. For that purpose we have to also determine the moisture content while determining the true density. So true density is given by the formula rho t is equal to W by V2 minus V1, where rho t is equal to true density kg per meter cube, W weight of grains, then V2 minus V1 volume displaced, where V2 is the final volume and V1 is the initial volume in a measuring cylinder. For this purpose we have to take 100 grams of sample. That sample is weighed with the help of weighing balance. Then in that measuring cylinder we have to take or pour sufficient quantity of oil so that the sample is submerged in that oil. The value of the V1 is noted, and then that sample 100 gram weight sample is then placed inside the measuring cylinder containing oil. Due to the pouring of biological material in that measuring cylinder, the level of volume increases, and that final level is nothing but the V2. From that V2 and V1 we find out the difference, and that value is placed in that equation W by V2 minus V1, and in this way true density is measured. Porosity. So porosity is an important property of an agricultural produce. The porosity may define as a relationship between volume of the intergrain space to the total volume of a grain mass. Porosity depends upon the various factors such as shape of the granular material, dimensions and roughness of the grain surface. The porosity of powdery, granular, porous or regular solid material is determined by air compression pycnometer method. So the porosity can be determined by the relationship between true density and bulk density of the material as follows. Porosity is equal to V2 by V1, which is equal to P1 minus P2 divided by P1. So the porosity is defined as the percentage of white space in the bulk grain which is not occupied by the grain and can be calculated from the following relationship, that is n is equal to 1 minus rho b by rho t, that is rho t minus rho b divided by rho t, where rho b is nothing but the bulk density of the material and rho t true density of the material. It means by finding out the values of bulk density and true density, we can also find out the porosity of the material, and this equation denotes the relationship between porosity, true density and bulk density. So pycnometer gives the porosity of the grain 5 to 10% higher in most of the cases than determined with other methods. So two tank method of porosity determination. This is also one of the important methods of porosity determination. So it consists of a two tanks. The procedure is we have to take the two tanks of same volume as shown in the next slide, and these two tanks are connected with the manometer, which shows the equilibrium pressure from which the porosity is to be determined. The tank T1 is empty and the tank 2 is filling with the grains at some amount. The two tanks method has an arrangement of airflow from one end to another end connected to a single horizontal pipe with the valve arrangement, that is that horizontal pipe through which air circulate has three valves placed at different position, which is shown in the next slide. Now the valve V1 is open and V2 and V3 get closed so that the air will pass into the tank 1. At the time, manometer will reach at the level of the equilibrium pressure and note the reading P1. Afterwards, the valve V1 is closed, V2 is open and V3 is closed. At that time, the air inside the tank 1 pass into the tank 2, which it fills all the pore space in between the grains. At the same time, manometer will reach at the level of the equilibrium pressure and note the reading P2. The porosity of the grain is calculated from the following equation. Porosity is equal to V2 by V1 is equal to P1 minus P2 by P1. We have already discussed this in our previous slide, that is porosity can also be found out by the relationship of bulk density and true density. So this is the apparatus for the measurement of porosity of a granular material. So that is two tank method. To the horizontal pipe, two tanks of the same dimensions and same finishing are attached with a pipe. Also to that horizontal pipe, three different valves are placed, and these two tanks connected to the manometer in order to record the pressure. So the valve V1 is placed just before the tank 1, valve V2 is placed after the tank T1 but before the tank 2, and tank 2 is filled with the some amount of grain. That tank contains grain and some white space. So and valve 3 is placed just after the tank 2. So and what type of arrangement to be made, that we have already discussed in our previous slide. So these are the some graphs obtained. Derivation for the determination of porosity using two tank method. With the material in tank 2, V2 is closed and air is supplied to the tank 1. When the suitable manometer displacement is achieved, valve V1 is closed and after the manometer has come to equilibrium, pressure P1 is read. Under this condition, according to the well-known perfect gas law, P1 V1 is equal to mR1 T1, where P1 is equal to absolute pressure, V2 is volume in tank 1, M mass of air, R1 gas constant of air, T1 absolute temperature. Now valve V3 closed and V2 is open and the pressure P2 is read. Under this condition, valve V1 and V3 closed, the total mass of air M is divided into M1 to fill tank 1 and M2 to fill pore spaces V2 in tank 2. So assuming R1 T1 is equal to R2 T2, which is equal to RT, M is equal to M1 plus M2. From these two, P1 V1 by RT is equal to P2 into V1 divided by RT plus P2 into V2 divided by RT, from which percent pore volume can be found to be V2 by V1 is equal to P1 minus P2 divided by P2. So in this way, we have covered the various physical properties in three parts. That is, in part 1 we have studied size and various method of size determination, then roundness. In the second part we studied different physical properties and their uh, methods of measurement, physical characteristics like sphericity, then their specific gravity, bulk density, and their methods of determination. And in the third part we studied the porosity and methods of porosity determination, then surface area leaf, how to measure the surface area of leaf. So basically there are two methods which are being followed to measure the surface area of leaf, that is graphical method and airflow planimeter method. Digital planimeter is also used to measure the surface area of leaf. We have also seen the various formulas to measure the surface area of fruits. In that condition, we have to just take the reading or weight of the fruit, and that value of weight is put in that particular formula to get its surface area. So in this way we have covered all the physical characteristics or properties in detail with their methods of determination. Thank you.